Have you ever seen a river that flows straight into a desert and just vanishes, only to turn dry sand into a green paradise? Over 70% of Botswana is covered by the Kalahari Desert, a place known locally as the Great Thirst. Yet every single year, something completely impossible happens right in the middle of all that dust. Imagine standing on a red sand dune with nothing around you but dry brush and endless silence. Now drive just a few minutes north, and suddenly you are looking at 40,000 water lilies, hippos splashing, and elephants drinking in a massive wetland. That is Botswana in a single image. It is a country about the size of Texas, but with only 2.4 million people. For every single human here, there are 12 empty spaces of wild land. So how does a giant wetland appear in a desert? It all starts 750 miles north in the high mountains of Angola. Heavy summer rains fall up there, and that water begins a long, slow journey south through Namibia and into Botswana. Instead of flowing into an ocean like most rivers, it runs directly into the Kalahari Desert and spreads out. By the time the water arrives, it is June or July, the driest time of the year in Botswana. Nature set an automatic alarm clock thousands of years ago. It creates the Okavango Delta, thousands of square miles of fresh water appearing right when the land needs it most. It would be like the Mississippi River emptying into Death Valley and turning it into a green oasis every summer. Before we move deeper into this incredible land, I want to know where you are watching from today. Drop your country and your local time in the comments below. If you are enjoying this wild journey so far, hit that like button and let us keep exploring. What surprises most people about Botswana is that its human story is just as deep as its natural world. The Botswana people make up most of the population today, having migrated here 1,000 years ago. But long before them, the Sand people were already walking these exact sands. Genetic scientists who map the human family tree call the sand the root of humanity. Their DNA represents the oldest living branch of our shared species, stretching back tens of thousands of years. When you hear their language, it includes distinct click sounds that humans were making before our ancestors ever left Africa. If you meet a San elder in the Kalahari, you are looking at a direct descendant of the oldest human line still alive on Earth today. Everyone in this country lives by a simple philosophy called Botho. It means a person is a person through other people. You are not just an individual on your own, you are defined by how you care for those around you. This principle shows up in everyday life through the Katla, a traditional village gathering held under a large shepherd's tree. Anyone can sit, anyone can speak, and decisions are made by listening until everyone agrees. Long before modern nations wrote constitutions about democracy, the people here were sitting under trees, making sure every voice was heard. In the Katla, no one is above the truth, and everyone has a place at the table. Drop a number 1 in the comments right now if you think the world could use a little more of this philosophy today. This deep sense of community and courage showed itself in one of the most remarkable love stories of the 20th century. Back in 1947, in the heart of London, a young African prince named Seretse Khama walked into a dance hall and met a young woman named Ruth Williams. Seretse was the heir to the throne of the Bangwato people in Botswana, and Ruth was a white English typist. They fell deeply in love and decided to get married. But this simple act of love sent shockwaves around the world. The British Empire panicked. South Africa, which was setting up its strict system of segregation, threatened to step in. Powerful political forces joined together to pressure Seretse, eventually banning him from returning to his own homeland for 5 full years. An entire empire tried to tear one love story apart, but love and principle won out in the end. The people of Botswana stood firmly by their leader and refused to replace him. By 1966, Seretse Khama returned and became the very first president of an independent Botswana, with Ruth as his first lady. Together, they helped build a peaceful, racial harmony-focused nation from the ground up. Hollywood even made a major film about their lives called A United Kingdom. It proved that love, vision, and courage can literally build a nation. Stay with me, my friends, because what comes next shows how this unique history turned Botswana into one of the safest and most surprising places in Africa today. Botswana has a rhythm unlike anywhere else on the planet. It is not strictly a country of modern cities, nor is it strictly a country of mud hut villages. It is both at the exact same time, blended together in harmony. The capital city is Gaborone, which locals affectionately call Gabs. It is home to roughly 240,000 people, which is only 10% of the entire country. Compared to other major nations where massive populations crowd into capitals, Gabs is peaceful, modern, and clean. It consistently ranks as one of the safest capital cities on the African continent, featuring glass towers, quiet roads, and weekend craft markets. Now, drive just 3 hours northeast, and you arrive in Sero, the largest traditional village in southern Africa. Here, you will not find high-rise buildings. Instead, you see thousands of round homes with mud walls and neatly thatched roofs, arranged in warm family clusters. Right in the center sits a public gathering space under a 300-year-old tree. What makes Botswana so incredible is that these two worlds do not conflict. A banker working in a high-rise office in Gaborone on Monday morning might be sitting on the grass at a traditional village assembly on Saturday, wearing traditional clothes and listening to elders speak. Then you have towns like Mon, the gateway to the Delta, where cattle walk down the main street at sunrise while safari airplanes take off overhead. Modern business, ancient tradition, and raw nature exist side by side without missing a beat. As impressive as the towns and villages are, the real heavyweights of Botswana are the elephants. Picture yourself standing on a safari boat on the Chobe River right as the sun begins to set. You look to your left, and 200 elephants are drinking at the water's edge. You look to your right, and 300 more are walking down the dusty hill toward you. That is just a normal afternoon in northern Botswana. This country is home to over 130,000 African elephants, the largest single population on Earth. To put that in perspective, for every 18 people living in Botswana, there is one elephant roaming the wilderness. During the dry season, a single stretch of the Chobe River can host over 50,000 elephants at once. These massive animals need 300 pounds of food and 50 gallons of water every single day to survive. Female elephants are led by an older matriarch who carries a mental map of water holes across decades of memory, guiding her family safely through long droughts. Here is what makes this story even more amazing. Back in the 1970s and 80s, violent poachers threatened wildlife in surrounding regions. The elephants actually figured out where it was safe. They walked hundreds of miles south into Botswana because the government used its armed forces to protect them. Over 50 years, the population grew 6 times over. In the Setswana language, the word for elephant is tilu, which also means patience and strength. Watching thousands of them move peacefully across the landscape shows you why that name fits so well. Beyond the wildlife, Botswana is filled with unique cultural experiences, ancient roots, and incredible local food. If you want to understand the soul of the country, you have to sit down at the dinner table. The national dish of Botswana is called seswa, and it is the ultimate comfort food. It is prepared in a traditional 3-legged iron pot over an open fire. Fresh beef or goat meat is combined with just water and salt, then left to simmer slowly for 5 full hours. Once it is completely tender, it is pounded with a heavy wooden tool until the meat falls into thin, savory strands. There are no fancy spices, no onions, and no garlic added. Locals say that a wedding without seswa is not really a wedding at all, it is just a business meeting. Then there are mopin worms, which are crispy caterpillars harvested from local trees. They are boiled and dried or fried, packing more protein than a traditional steak, with a delicious smoky, nutty flavor. And here is a fun piece of food history that might surprise you. Scientists have traced the roots of the modern watermelon back to the Kalahari Desert. Every juicy slice of watermelon eaten around the globe today comes from an ancient plant that originally learned to store precious rainwater in these dry southern sands. The people here have also made history on the international sports stage. At the 2024 Paris Olympics, a 21-year-old sprinter named Letzel Tebogo won the gold medal in the 200 meters, becoming the first African athlete ever to win that event. The entire nation stopped to celebrate together. To truly appreciate how miraculous this country is, you have to experience the Okavango Delta from both the sky and the water. Imagine taking off in a small propeller plane, flying just 300 feet above the ground. As you look out the window, cool morning air rushes past, and below you lies a carpet of emerald green grass and winding golden channels. This is the largest inland delta on Earth, recognized as a global treasure. Remember that water that started its journey high up in the mountains of Angola? It takes 6 long months to creep across the continent, arriving in Botswana right when the sun is at its hottest. Over 150,000 large animals live inside this wetland at any given moment. From the air, you can spot vast herds of buffalo, giraffes galloping across shallow streams, and crocodiles soaking up the morning sun. When you land, you can step down into a makoro, a traditional narrow canoe carved out of a tree trunk. A local guide stands in the back, using a long wooden pole to push you silently through the tall reeds. You sit low in the boat, watching yellow water lilies float past your fingers as tiny, colorful frogs sing from the stems. There is no sound except the gentle splash of the pole and the call of distant birds. Moving through these quiet water paths with wild nature all around you is a feeling of peace that words can hardly describe. If you travel to the far northwest corner of the country, 4 giant rock hills rise dramatically out of the flat sand. This place is called Tsidilo, and it holds one of the most dense collections of ancient rock art on Earth. Over 4,500 individual paintings are drawn onto these sheer stone walls, with some dating back more than 20,000 years. The local San people consider Tsidilo a deeply sacred place where creation itself began. They still visit the rocks today to offer peaceful thoughts and respect. It is not an abandoned museum. It is a living sanctuary of human history preserved for thousands of generations. A short drive away, the landscape shifts completely into the Makgadikgadi Salt Pans. Tens of thousands of years ago, this area was covered by a massive lake. Today, it is a vast expanse of pure white salt crust that glimmers like fresh snow under the bright sun. The silence here is total and profound. In the middle of this white horizon sits Kubu Island, a rocky granite outcrop where giant baobab trees have grown out of ancient stone for over 1,000 years. At night, with no city lights for hundreds of miles, the stars shine with unbelievable brightness. This wild land is also home to Africa's most successful team hunters, the painted wild dogs. These unique animals work together with unmatched coordination, achieving high success on their hunts. But what makes them truly special is their social structure. When a hunt is finished, the young pups, the sick, and the elderly pack members are always allowed to eat first. When Botswana gained its independence in 1966, it was ranked as one of the poorest nations on Earth. The entire country had only 12 kilometers of paved road, fewer than 100 university graduates, and an average income of just $70 per person per year. Then, just 1 year later, geologists made a discovery that changed everything. Deep beneath the sand, they uncovered vast reserves of high-quality diamonds. In many parts of the world, sudden mineral wealth has led to corruption, civil strife, and hardship. But Botswana took a completely different path. Instead of keeping the wealth for a select few, the nation's leaders used every diamond dollar to build schools, construct modern paved highways, establish free healthcare systems, and fund university education for its citizens. In 2024, miners uncovered a historical 2,400-carat diamond, one of the largest ever found in human history. Today, Botswana stands as one of the most stable, prosperous, and successful democracies in Africa, with an exceptional record of clean governance. They prove to the entire world that natural wealth, when managed with honesty and vision, can build a bright future for everyone. Every August, deep in the desert town of Ganzi, communities gather for the Kuru Dance Festival. San groups come together to play drums, sing, and perform ancient traditional dances around open fires long into the night. It is a vibrant celebration of survival, history, and human connection. If reading about this incredible country makes you want to pack your bags, here is how you can experience Botswana for yourself. The peak time for wildlife viewing is during the dry winter months, from May to October. During these months, the weather is pleasantly cool, and thousands of animals gather along the full riverbanks. If you want to see lush green landscapes, dramatic bird migrations, and baby animals, the summer rain season from November to March offers lower prices and stunning scenery. For visiting travelers, Botswana is extremely welcoming. Visitors from many nations do not need a prearranged visa for stays under 90 days, and English is widely spoken alongside Setswana. When greeting someone locally, it is customary to show respect by using both hands during a handshake. Botswana shows the world what is possible when a nation respects its wildlife, honors its ancient roots, and uses its resources to care for its people. It is a land where a river brings life to a desert, where elephants roam freely, and where ancient traditions thrive alongside modern progress. If Botswana just made your travel bucket list, type the word Dumela in the comments below. That means hello in Setswana. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. If you enjoyed exploring this hidden gem, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell. Let me know in the comments where our next adventure should take us. Until next time, my friends, Sala Sentinel, stay well.